Between aging and busy lifestyles, many women struggle with maintaining their physical and mental wellness. At Aquavita Concierge Healthcare Services for Women, we can help you revitalize your health and reclaim your life. We start from within by balancing your hormones, allowing your body to achieve and maintain desired weight goals. We also specialize in peptide therapies, regenerative medicine, sexual health, and aesthetics in our state-of-the-art facilities. Feel better, look better, live better at Aquavita. Visit aquavitality.com and begin your journey today.
No brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Another week comes round in British Speedway and things are starting to hot up in pursuit of the playoffs in the Sports Insure Premiership. Sheffield and Ipswich met on Monday night live on Eurosport and it came down to a superheat for the aggregate bonus point.
They've got all the points tonight. Fabulous night of Speedway.
Plenty of reaction to come, including from Simon Stead and Jack Holder.
It didn't matter, as long as you were second and third, that was the better option. And as soon as we went out the start, me and Toby just looked for each other like a team and we come out on top.
Much more reaction from Monday's meetings on the way. Our special guest in this week's episode is former three-time British champion and all-round British legend, Chris Bomber Harris is with us.
The main goal is to win the British final. The Cardiff thing's obviously an extra bonus, but my main one is to get that fourth title under my belt. It's always tough, especially being at Belle Vue every year now. I remember not long ago when riders, promoters and fans used to moan it. It's always at Wolverhampton every year, and now they've turned it around and it's at Belle Vue. So riders don't really moan about that, but I don't forget because I've been around a long time.
Much more with Chris Harris to come later on. And in the final part of the podcast, we'll shine the light on the Cab Direct Championship and the National Development League. We'll hear from Gavin Parr of the Red Car Bears, who have a busy week ahead, home and away against the Scunthorpe Scorpions. And looking back on recent action from the National Development League, we hear from Lee Complin of the Mildenhall Fen Tigers. All on the way on this week's episode of No Brakes, No Fear.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
As ever, plenty to get through in this week's episode, and later we will hear from Chris Harris. But first, let's start with our review of everything that happened on Monday night in the Sports Insure Premiership. And live on TV, Sheffield collected maximum points against the Ipswich Witches in a dramatic finale at Oleton as the aggregate point was decided in a superheat.
Great effort from Jack Holder back in second place, and we've got a superheat for the aggregate point.
The Tigers were only 4 up with 4 races remaining, but they collected 5 ones in heats 12 and 14 to win the Sports Insure Premiership clash 51-39, exactly mirroring the result from Vauxhall last month. So, aggregate scores were level. It required a superheat to separate it. Jason Doyle, penalised for touching the tapes in heat 15, came back with another bite at the cherry in the final heat. The superheat scoring system rewarding team riding. Jack Holder and Tobias Musilak in second and third, keeping Jason Doyle at bay, meant it didn't matter that Sayfutdinov was pulling away out front.
The Sheffield boys aren't worried about that because they know right now, with half a lap to go, that the aggregate point, the bonus point, is going to go the way of the home team and they're going to pick up all the points here tonight. Desperately disappointing for the Ipswich Witches, but joy for the Sheffield Tigers.
Emil Sayfutdinov racking up 16 plus 1 at Oleton for the Ipswich Witches, but it was not enough, and the Sheffield Tigers take the win on the night and the aggregate bonus point. So how were the nerves after that for team manager Simon Stead? He's talking to Ryan Guest.
Shot. Look, we knew that it was going to be tough. At one stage we were struggling to gain any distance at all. So. And obviously losing Louis wasn't ideal. Juggling races and trying to maximise what we got from each and every heat, it was difficult. But credit to the lads, pulled together, knew what we needed to do, knew the importance of the result, and got it.
Like you say, it's far from job done, but tonight does feel like it could be a significant point in the season and the playoff race, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly that, right. And like I just said, that they knew the importance of tonight's result. We were desperate to maximise the amount of points we were taking out of the meeting. We've managed to do that, but the riders understand the position, and you can't ask for any more, can you? They raced hard every heat. Wasn't always from the start. Some great racing out there. They were flying, and then to finish the job in super heats was really good.
Yeah, it was indeed. Now on to Peterborough on Thursday night as well, and we know it's been going tough for the Panthers, as we mentioned before. You hosted them here last Monday, but nevertheless they're looking to turn a corner and start getting a run of results. So again, need the boys to apply themselves correctly on Thursday now.
Yeah, what you can't do is take anything for granted, because results are hard to come by. They are finding it tough at the moment, but with the riders that they've got, they've obviously got quality in that team, and they can turn it on at any point. So we need to keep doing what we're doing. I feel like we're riding well at the moment. We're riding well as a team. Obviously, we have to assess what the deal is with Louis, and we'll do what we need to do. But I'm looking forward to it. It's another important meeting and a chance to get some more points on the board.
So the first superheat at Oleton then, and whilst the Sheffield Riders didn't win it, it's not about winning if you're not familiar with the superheat format, and not everybody will be. And the reason I explain this is because people from all around the world listen to this podcast, and superheats are something that work differently in the UK. So it's 4 points for a win, 3 points for second, 2 for third. It's like the pairs format, and so second and third actually more valuable than a ride that clears off out front, as Emil Sayfutdinov did, with Jason Doyle unable to score. So it's all about avoiding last places as a team. Jack Holder then, one of those riders involved in claiming the bonus point for the Sheffield Tigers on Monday night, and he's also been speaking to Ryan Guest.
Didn't really know much about the score until I think about halfway, and Steady said we're only 2 points up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, we got I think it was a big heat 13 and 14. I think that allowed us to, level it up on the aggregate score. And super heat. We knew that a win was, it didn't matter. As long as you were second and third, that was the better option. And as soon as we went up the start, me and Toby just looked for each other like a team, and we come out on top.
Yeah, I was going to say the way Emil was flying after his first ride as well, was that kind of the tactic? See where it was in the first bend, and then maybe deal with Doyley and keep him at the back.
His first ride, I beat him, so I don't know if he was flying then. He was quick all night, but I was really demeaning in heat 13. I just sort of stuff up a little bit, and then we knew the super heat, if we got a 3-3, it was going to be... in heat 15, if we got a 3-3 as a super heat, so we went again, and he could have won it as much as he wanted it, but we got the second and third.
Yeah, and like you say, you now pull 3 points further clear of Ipswich as well, so just how important is that in the playoff race?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and obviously a big one coming up at Peterborough now, a place you've got to go and target a win, and then the next home fixture against the reigning champs and league leaders, Belle Vue, one to look forward to.
Yeah, we've got a big couple of meetings coming up. Everyone goes well around Peterborough, so hopefully we can continue the form on, and then Belle Vue are coming. So hopefully we're on a good roll at the moment. Hopefully keep it going.
Yeah, massive well done tonight.
Thank you.
What about the Ipswich Witches number one then? Emil Sayfutdinov, he had another successful evening, 16 plus 1 bonus point for him on Monday night around Oleton. Always an entertainer for fans of both sides, though. He's also been having a chat with Ryan after the meeting.
Well, Emil Sayfutdinov obviously losing by 12 points and missing out on the aggregate point here tonight. It's a bit of a tough one for the Ipswich boys to take tonight.
I was really sad about that, even we not get some bonus, and it's a tough situation, but anyway, we never give up, and we will try, for the other meeting, try best and win get some points.
Yeah, like you say, really can't afford any more slip-ups at all now, and Belle Vue at home on Thursday, obviously the league leaders. It's going to be another tough one there.
It will be a tough meeting, and like I said, just that's a speedway. It's just we need to be focused and be ready, for the tough meeting. And of course, if we try, we can do it. We can win, in home.
But here tonight, yourself absolutely superb once again. You had a third in your first ride, but then 6 wins out of 7 later on.
Yeah, it has a lot of race today, and. Like I smile, it's just after 7 hits, it just can close the eyes and then know where is good lines, faster lines. So I really enjoy that track, and I really like. And after first hit, I just make with my mechanic and good correction in the bike, and then this was going fast.
Like you say, it was a tough one as well because you need 15 and particularly that superheat, you couldn't do it all by yourself. And Jason, a bad night at the office for Jason when we know what he's capable of, and obviously that proved costly in the end in those two big heats at the end.
Yeah, Jason has a tough meeting for sure, and some things with his setups or something bike is working wrong, and that's why he's like scores not a lot of points. So I think he knows what's happened, and next one it will be okay. And Jason is a good rider, and that like I said, we have a good team, and really we have good opportunity to win at home and get the semi. But it's speedway. Sometimes can happen some things.
Emil, many thanks for speaking.
Thank you very much.
Do you know what? Emil Sayfutdinov, every single time is just an absolute pleasure to deal with. And if you are a young speedway rider listening to this, wherever you are on your journey, that's a guy that you need to watch out to not just ride the bike and all the rest of it, but for my money, how he is with everyone, with fans, with the media, with promoters, with opposition teammates. Say what you like about the guy, but the way he conducts himself is absolutely first class at every turn. Well done, Emil Sayfutdinov. Let's hear from one of his teammates now. Erik Riss, of course, has had all sorts of health issues this season, many of which have been a mystery to the doctors as well. We can get an update on his condition now. This was an interview on Discovery Plus on Monday, so you may not have seen this, but Erik Riss giving a full update, really, on his condition, and it's actually pretty positive, because he says that he's pretty much back to normal now, which is great news, and he's been speaking to Abby Stevens.
Well, the cause for it is still not found, so the doctors reckon it was caused by a viral infection, but basically what happened is the fluid that is in your spinal cord also runs in your head, and if that fluid is too much, there's high pressure in your head. So that was caused by probably a virus, and then because I've had too much pressure in the head, something called the optic nerve swell up behind my eye, which is the nerve that connects the eye to the brain, and therefore I was having blurry vision, and just didn't see properly.
Which is not what you want on a speedway bike.
No, definitely not. I tried at the beginning because at first I didn't even know what was going on, so I kept riding, and I tried because momentarily, when you don't know what it is, you think, oh, it's just a bit of an illness, and you sort of think, oh, it is getting better, and then I tried to ride, but it was just not working. I couldn't concentrate and see properly.
And how are you feeling now?
I'm pretty much back to normal. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I've been back to hospital, and I've had, before I went to that hospital visit, I had 3 lumbar punctures where they release fluid from my back, which lowers the pressure in the head, and therefore that should allow the nerves behind the eye to swell down. And like I said, I've been to hospital about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they said the swelling had gone down slightly, and it's getting better. And after that hospital visit, it kept getting better, so I'm pretty much back to normal now.
And can you ride it at full pelt with 100% commitment, or is there a slight fear, I suppose?
I don't know. I don't feel myself on the bike at the moment. I don't know why that is. I can't work it out. I don't know if it's still related to my head. But in everyday life, I feel pretty much normal again. So I don't think it's that. But when you've been off the bike for 2.5 months and everyone else has been riding, you probably do feel a bit hesitant. Yeah.
And how have the other guys been around you? I'm sure they are so glad to see you back.
Oh yeah. Especially the club, they've waited around to get me back in, so I really appreciate that. And once I was starting to get better, I was buzzing to get back in the team, because it's a good bunch of guys. Being in the team with those guys is fun, and yeah, I was looking forward to be back.
And this is a must-win for the Witches tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is. We need to win. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. We just gotta put our heads down and try and get a win.
Erik, good to see you back, and I hope you continue to get back to full health.
Thank you.
Eric Riss with Abby Stevens from Eurosport. Coming soon, we'll hear from Phil Morris, the CEO of the Sports Insure Premiership, with an update on what's going on with Kings Lynn and Peterborough, and of course a look back at that exciting meeting on the TV on Monday night. But first, let's head to Monmore, because Wolverhampton fought back from 6 points down to edge out Belle Vue 47-43 in an incident-packed Sports Insure Premiership match at Monmore Green. The Aces led 33-27 after Heat 10, but the meeting began to turn in the next race when number one Dan Bewley was involved in a spectacular collision with home reserve Zach Cook. Both riders walked away, but Bewley didn't race again as a precaution. Wolves levelled with a 5-1 in Heat 13, with the Aces then hit by mechanical trouble for Charles Wright in Heat 14 and Jamin Lidsey just prior to the last race. Sam Masters won the decider for Wolves, with Rory Schlein finishing third, although the league leaders did take consolation with the aggregate point to go 8 points clear at the top of the Sports Insure Premiership. Right now, let's hear from Mark Lemon, the team manager of the Belle Vue Aces.
Yeah, you could say that for sure. We started off pretty good. The boys obviously get a bit of momentum coming in, especially our away form has been pretty good this year, and I guess that's showcased again tonight. But Wolves sort of probably felt a bit lucky early on, I guess they can say, but losing sort of Dan, that crash was a pretty spectacular crash, and we're both glad that Zach and Dan walked away from that one, because it looked pretty nasty. But so we just rested Dan. I don't want to take no risk with him the rest of the season. And obviously he's got a Grand Prix coming up too. So to walk away here with 4-point defeat, we'll take that, because we've got the aggregate point, which I don't think too many teams are going to do that over Wolverhampton.
And obviously a bit of bad luck towards the end of the meeting, with obviously Dan with his exclusion, Charles with the engine failure, and then Jamie being excluded at the start line for Heat 15.
Yeah, these things happen, like you said. We can take a lot of positives tonight, really. Like I said, it was one that probably got away as an away win. You can't change those things. That's motorsport, and these things happen. But Charles has had a bit of a rotten run with engines. Like, he was comfortably there, doing quite well, and the rocker arm broke, so that was a mechanical one. And Jamin obviously had a bike malfunction at the start line. So that's the way it goes. But it was good to see Tom start off slow and then find some racing results.
And word on Dan Bewley, just a bit knocked about after what was, like you say, quite a nasty, not necessarily high-speed crash, but a very bad crash for both him and Zach.
Yeah, he went down pretty hard on his back, so he's feeling a bit tender in that area. So it's just not worth sending him out there again. He can rest up. Potentially he's got Sweden tomorrow, but better be safe than sorry. I just felt there's a point where where do you draw the line? We want to win, but we don't want to win at all costs.
So, positive news on Dan Bewley. Wolves now have a little break. They're not riding on Thursday. However, the Belle Vue Aces are back in action, visiting Foxhall up against Ipswich on Thursday night. The other fixture in the Sports Insure Premiership is still a round one clash, actually, because they're still playing catch-up. Peterborough up against Sheffield. And that was one that was abandoned early, actually, the first leg, but the result did stand. So it's 23-37 as far as the aggregate point goes there, with that being in Sheffield's favour. Peterborough, of course, well documented, have had some issues over the last week or so. Carl Johnson, the club co-promoter, stepping down. Kings Lynn also having a break in proceedings to look at their current financial situation, with the change at the top there at Kings Lynn. Both sides, though, expected to be back in business very soon, including for Peterborough as soon as this Thursday. Kings Lynn back on the track on Monday, so just taking a week away from proceedings just to reorganise themselves. Phil Morris is the CEO of the Sports Insure Premiership, and he's been giving an update on those situations to Ryan Guest.
Well, Phil, obviously the back end of last week there was a few concerning news items coming out from a couple of the clubs in the Premiership. If you can just bring us up to speed and what you did know. First of all, starting with the situation at Kings Lynn.
Yeah, obviously it's tough for them. They've had a change of promotion, and Keith Chapman's had to step in and take charge of everything, and I think there's been a lot of things that might not been to what he wanted and how he wanted it, and obviously he's had to sit down, take stock, potentially, I don't know what but they asked us as a BSPL, could we give him that 1 week grace? I genuinely don't think there's any problem with him finishing the season, and I hope that's the case. So it was very open and honest discussion, and I was the one that said we need full transparency to say why this is happening, and that's what we felt we did. We sort of just told the full story. They need to refinance, they need to regroup. look at everything from start to finish and start again. Give them a week's grace to do that. So we did our bit from our side, and at the end of the day, it's the interest of the sports. We all want Kings Lynn in it, so we felt that it was genuinely needed, that they did need that week just to stop the bus, look at everything, evaluate everything, and almost start again.
Like you say, the full intention and full expectation is that they'll be at Leicester next Monday.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there was no question about that, I don't think. And going forward, they've already put the fixture in the calendar. Okay, it's in the World Cup week, but I think Kings Lynn and Peterborough they're not going to be affected by it. So yeah, it's they've managed to do that, and obviously it's not ideal. It's not something you want, but you have to respect the situation that was left. The promoter that was running it, has left, and they had to step up, and Keith Chapman had to carry on. He's been trying to sort of step away from the sport and let people promote, but I think he's back in the hot seat now, and hopefully we'll get to the end of the season successfully, and then he come back to the tapes next year.
Yep, certainly the case at Peterborough as well, where he tried to be gaining a bit more control. Obviously, Carl Johnson stepping down as promoter, but a few things happening behind the scenes there, which will see the Panthers through.
Yeah, I generally don't think there's an issue there. They've obviously did have an issue with the Carl Johnson, who did a lot of work there, and I'm sure they're thankful for that, but for his own reasons he decided he needed out. And I know they've got another promoter in now. I don't know how public it is, so at this point I won't say. So they've got another promoter, and they're ready to go again. And they're quite positive. And it's not, as people put them two together, Peterborough and Kings Lynn. It's a separate entity. And no issues here, I don't believe.
Yeah, and like you say, obviously everyone was concerned when those two news stories come out on the same day, and understandably there was a little bit of doom and gloom, but nevertheless, when you consider the two fixtures we've seen on Eurosport and Discovery Plus on Monday night, with the superheat for the aggregate points, Sheffield and Ipswich, a last heat decider, Wolverhampton, Belle Vue, that's what this sport, that's what this league's all about.
Yeah, you're always going to have 0-0 draws in football. That's the nature of the beast. You sometimes have meetings that are not exciting, but I think it proves having the aggregate bonus point kept this meeting alive. I think it's something that is good to come back this year, and it's definitely something I feel is a benefit. So it proved that this meeting could have been a bit dead if there wasn't a bonus point, but it's never dead when you've got Emil Sayfutdinov, Jack Holder, Tobias Musliak and Jason Doyle in the race. But you understand what I'm saying. That did help it, and obviously it made it alive right to the last millimetres of the race.
Phil, many thanks for speaking to us.
No problem.
British Speedway Premiership CEO Phil Morris there with an update on particularly the situations involving Kings Lynn and Peterborough. And Peterborough racing on Thursday against the Sheffield Tigers, 7:30 the start time there. And also on Thursday it's the Ipswich Witches versus the Belle Vue Aces, 7:30 also the start time at Vauxhall Stadium. That fixture will be on BSN on Thursday night. Looking ahead to Monday, well, also on Eurosport will be the Belle Vue Aces and the Ipswich Witches in the return leg of that clash at the National Speedway Stadium on Monday night. Also happening, it's a busy programme because only Sheffield not riding, in fact. Leicester up against the Kings Lynn Stars on Monday evening, and the Wolverhampton Wolves hosting the Peterborough Panthers in the Sports Insure Premiership. Just taking a look at the league table of the Sports Insure Premiership. Well, currently sitting pretty at the top are the Belle Vue Aces. They've hit 30 points now, 24 league points, the rest coming from either superheats or aggregate bonus points. So 30 points overall at the top of the Sports Insure Premiership, but they have still ridden quite a few more fixtures than everybody else. But, that lays the marker down. Everybody's got to keep pace. 17 matches ridden, 30 points on the board. Leicester Lions have ridden 12 meetings and have 22 points. The Wolverhampton Wolves, 14 matches ridden and 22 points on the board as well. The Sheffield Tigers currently in fourth, ridden 13 and 20 points, and that's 5 points ahead and a match in hand over the Ipswich Witches, who are now in fifth place and outside the playoff places. 14 meetings ridden and 15 points achieved. Kings Lynn are in sixth, having ridden 13 and got 7 points, and Peterborough Panthers prop up the table in seventh, 13 matches ridden, and 2 points to show for it so far. Obviously, a way to go yet. There can be some twists, but you fancy now the top four beginning to pull away from the rest, and the Ipswich Witches have a huge meeting against top of the table Belle Vue Aces on Thursday night, and then the return, of course, the following week. And that is a huge clash, as Ipswich can ill afford to be cut further adrift from that pack of the top four as it stands. The next week is going to certainly be a big one. OK, in the next part of No Breaks, No Fear, we switch tack and, well, we speak to a man who's going to be involved in one of those clashes with the Leicester Lions, a team who can still actually finish top of the table. And they've got quite a few matches in hand, and they've been going great lately. Captain of the Leicester Lions, Chris Harris, speak to us next on No Breaks, No Fear.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back then to No Breaks, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. And joining us is a proper legend of British Speedway, former British champion, former Grand Prix star, one of the few, in fact, one of the two guys now to have won Cardiff Speedway Grand Prix. Chris Harris is with us. Welcome, Bomber. Good to have you along. It's a busy week for you on all fronts, and a busy season once again, because you started off all guns blazing, I think, guesting for most clubs, but it sort of settles down this time of year, doesn't it, for you?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Yeah, no, it's starting to get busy again. So the start of the season was really busy with both clubs and guesting, and sort of quiet down a little bit. And then, we're starting to get too busy again.
So looking at this last week then, you're riding for Glasgow last week in the BSN Series final, which finally got underway at Poole. It didn't really go to plan, that did it, on many fronts, unfortunately?
No, that didn't happen, that meeting. Poole was just a better side team on the night, for one reason or another. All seven of them was gating, so whatever their secret is, it's working. But at the end of the day, we just wasn't good enough as a team. As a 1-7, we wasn't performing. We have to forget about it and move on. It's going to be a big ask, the return leg. In hindsight, they've got the trophy, haven't they? So we just got to make sure that we win at home and give our fans something to celebrate that we win at home.
Glasgow's season as a whole, though, the league table, of course, at this stage is a little bit deceptive because some teams have ridden way more meetings than others. Glasgow are very much there with the likes of Oxford, of course, who've set the early pace. And, Glasgow, on average, are matching Oxford blow for blow there. So it is shaping up to be, an exciting sort of final couple of months in the championship.
Yeah, no, Oxford's starting the season on fire, haven't they? They've got a solid side, 1-7 really. So, but again, so have we. But I think we've got a lot to improve on as a team. I think we've got a lot of places where, as individual riders, we can improve. So I think there's more to come from us yet. But there'll be still a lot to come from the likes of Oxford still, and Poole. So it's going to be a tough running for everybody. But I think we can definitely finish in that top if we keep persisting doing what we're doing. But it's going to be tough. Each team are solid, so it'd be interesting for what teams are making the playoffs.
What is the mood at Glasgow? Because, of course, it's been a bit of time now since Glasgow last claimed any silverware, going back to the start of the ownership of the current promotion. And the last team manager to win anything, of course, was Stuart Dixon, who you're no stranger to, of course, this season as well. So it has been a little bit of a while, and I'm sure that the folks there are well aware of that. But it's just that winning that first bit of silverware you fancy, and then maybe the floodgates potentially will open. But it just seems to get tough in those closing stages of tournaments at the moment, and invariably facing the likes of the Poole Pirates.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Poole seems to be winning everything again. So in this league as well. So I think as a club, Glasgow are more capable of winning. Obviously, they've always put good teams together, but it's finding that balance. That's the thing. And riders, when it comes to the crunch of lifting their game for that and not getting nervous in big events. So. I've been in a few finals over the years now, so I know what it's all about. It's just hopefully getting that rider's nerves right, and you've got to have a bit of luck on your side as well in finals. You look at, say, at Poole, they didn't have any last places. They was on, all 7 was firing. So we had riders that were struggling a bit. Lee struggled. Obviously, Tom struggled. He crashed. I was struggling, and I normally go out. I'm normally good for double figures around Paul, to be fair. But it was a night that Paul was just on fire. So we just got to make sure that doesn't happen again at any meetings, and we move on from that, and we learn from it.
And it's quite a rebuilding job for Glasgow. They made a number of changes from the previous season. Some, of course, enforced. Some riders retiring as well, like Ulrich, for example. But also some big changes with some riders that have been around with Glasgow for a little while leaving the scene. So a big statement to bring yourself in, for example. So what's life been like at Glasgow for you? Because obviously it's always a big decision where you're going to ride. You were at Berwick last season. You moved to Glasgow this year, and how are you finding life at Ashfield?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, the first time I was there, I had a lot of problems with engines and machinery, and the travelling was a lot. I was doing everything myself back then more, and the driving, and we had my my daughter was born that year, so it was a lot to juggle in, but. The reason I was sort of wanted to go back when I knew I was going to leave Berwick, because I wanted my weekends free, was to put things right at Glasgow, as I said before. I felt that I didn't really show my true potential there the first time, and I feel this time that I'm showing what I am capable of, especially after going back there with my other clubs over the last few years and scoring heavily. So I thought I owed it to Glasgow and the fans to show my worth, and I believe that I'm doing that now. It's good to say I've got a good bunch of riders behind, like Ben and Tom, pushing me for my number 1 spot, so it keeps me on my toes to keep it. So it's I'm really enjoying it there. The fans have been great since I've been back, and we're there to try to win.
And looking at this week now for Glasgow, it's a busy week because of course you were down at Poole last week, and this week heading to Birmingham, another former home circuit of yours, so you must be looking forward to heading back there as well.
Yeah, Birmingham is a track I really enjoy. I've always enjoyed going there, so they've strengthened up obviously over the last few weeks, so it's going to be probably a lot harder than what it might have been originally with the team they started the season with, but you can never underestimate any of them, and so we've got a good side and can ride both tracks well, so very confident why we can't go down there and win both meetings.
I was with you. You were commentating with us on BSN at Birmingham a couple of months ago, and we did a track walk there. And you were saying that the track has changed significantly at Peterborough since you were last there, as a home rider at least.
Yeah, when I was there, I always made sure that we had plenty of dirt on it. So obviously the riders they got there this year they'd be a bit different to how I would have had it. But you've got to make sure that the home riders are happy. So. From when we was there and I was commentating and watching it a few times, it looked a little bit on the slicker side. It looked smooth, but slicker. But we just got to adapt. As an away rider, we just got to get on with the job.
You're not in action with Leicester until next week now, but safe to say that in the Sports Insure Premiership this season, again a bit of a going into the unknown slightly with Leicester, a newly promoted side, taking on the Premiership for the first time, and the first time in a long while, because of course the last time they were there it wasn't overly successful, but building a team that was looking much more solid this time, and they've achieved that. And now Leicester, not just pushing for the playoffs, but pushing for top spot.
Yeah, I knew when they went back up, and I spoke to Stuart when Leicester was coming back up, that he had put a team that's competitive. He's always said that he wouldn't want to go in there just as to make the numbers, if you want to go there to win, and then put a good tie together, which he's done. We started off obviously a bit slow, getting grips in the track, but we're slowly as a team getting it. And obviously when he asked me to be captain as well to lead them out, it was a great honour, and we're definitely pushing not just to make playoffs but to finish top.
Are you surprised at how Leicester have gone, or did you feel that this was definitely in the tank from the off?
Yeah, I think the tie they put together started to improve. So I expected us to do what we're doing. We've got Max in at number 1. He's a Grand Prix rider, good rider. Nick's been at Leicester for a long time, so he knows the lines. Rich is a good gator and a good rider as well, so he rides it well. So I think this team is solid all the way through. It's just getting consistency, which I think we found now.
And how do you get on with Stuart Dixon? You being the team captain, Stuart, of course, has been around Leicester for a long time, but a very wily character, I think, in speedway management, and was certainly one of the sharpest that I've met. Not much gets past him. Have you had a good time working with Stuart? Yeah, I love working with him. He's so funny. He's straight to the point, which is what you want as well. You don't want somebody to be go around the houses. He says how it is. He reminds me a bit like of my old mate Colin Pratt. He used to tell you how it is, and could have a fallout of him, but 5 minutes later you've forgotten about it and you moved on, and that's how I feel that Stuart is as well. Okay, and you're in action on it's Monday, isn't it, when you're next riding and riding against Kings Lynn, which is due to be Kings Lynn's comeback match. Of course, they're having a bit of a week off to organise things. It's sort of a bit of a worry, I suppose, when clubs are finding themselves in that position. And of course, Peterborough also finding themselves in a situation where currently they've got no out-and-out promoter with Carl Johnson departing. But of course, not so long ago, you were part of that Dad's Army team marching to the title, and it's just strange how quickly things can change in Speedway. Yeah, it's just sad to see, obviously, both clubs. Both clubs I enjoy riding at, Peterborough and Kingston, so hopefully they both can sort their futures out and be on track for many years to come. But yeah, no, we'll see how Monday goes. Hopefully Kingston's had that week off and it's sorted out what they needed to do, and they can come to the tapes on Monday. Another big event that's taking place this coming weekend is the British Under-21 final. Reigning champion is Leon Flint, a rider that you worked with closely last season, of course, at Berwick, but you've ridden with, I would say, probably the majority of the lineup. Ace Piper, of course, a teammate of yours at Glasgow. The Thompsons, of course, in there. Well, Dan Thompson is. Joe, of course, is injured. So a lot of these riders you'd be familiar with, and who would you be tipping, do you think, around Glasgow for that? No, you can't count Leon out. He's good around Glasgow. And Dan as well. Ace is going well this year. He's steadily improving. So if he can get out the gate, he can be as quick as anyone, really, if he rides them right lines. So. Then you've got young Ashton coming through. He's a good gaiter, so I wouldn't quite count him out either. If he makes a gate, he's got good equipment and he's quick. So it's I couldn't really say who's going to be the favourite. No late call ups from Vatcha for you then to get into it this year. If you've failed in your on the ageing pills to wind back time on that. Yeah. Tried to make myself a little bit younger, to make myself 21 again, but no, it didn't quite work, so I'll have to miss out again. And are you involved in the long track at Marmande this weekend, or? Yeah. I've got this on this Thursday coming, so we've got a busy, Plymouth tomorrow, Wednesday Birmingham, and then fly out Thursday for the long track. And that's a big event, isn't it? That isn't it a bank holiday in France that weekend? And it's a nice little trip for spectators as well as the riders, I guess. Yeah, it's a good. The spectators love it. It's a good day. There's a hungover people over the night because it's a night meeting. So come 1 o'clock when it's finished, there's a lot of people staggering around as you like. So yeah, but once we finish that, we're off flying out the next day to Finland, because I've got the call up to drive for Team GB in the European pairs, so with Tom and Jordan. So yeah, it's still busy on Saturday as well. Yeah, and the under-20 the pairs that you're talking about there, the European pairs, not an easy place to get to logistically. I was talking to Ollie Allen, and it was a bit of a headache on how you're going to get bikes and riders there. But obviously, you're one of those that's making the trip. Yeah, it was a late call. It's about a week really to organise, because riders don't want to do all the fancy stuff, don't want to do all the long ones. So I'm always prepared to ride for my country and represent them. So I never really let them down. Whenever I get called up, I say yes. And some I'm like riders, they pick and choose which ones they want to do. So hope Oliver and the Team GB boys remember that when they pick teams in future. So, but no, we've got everything organised, and we got, between the three of us, we got the bikes and a van organised to get out there. Wow, well, good luck with that. And it's a busy weekend in Speedway in general. The Grand Prix back, of course, Melilla this weekend. It's SGP3 and SGP4. And I think some of the British lads are likely to be involved in that, hopefully as well, if they qualified during the course of this week. So busy weekend of Speedway, and seeing if any of the British guys can hold a candle to Bartosz Szmartlik on the world stage as well, because he just keeps pulling it out of the bag, doesn't he?
Yeah, Bartosz has definitely got his sights set on that next world title. So, it'd be a hard one to beat at the minute, but, he's there to beatable. He's just hard to do it. But, yeah, you can't, Dan and Robert, they're pushing as well. So hopefully they can push him all the way.
And the British final will be upon us soon enough. The draw for that's going to be taking place, I think, fairly soon as well. And, you came fairly close last year, certainly in that first running. You were up there or thereabouts, and another Cardiff appearance would be certainly on your agenda, I guess, if possible.
Yeah, I'd love to go Cardiff again. Obviously, the main goal is to win the British final. The Cardiff thing's obviously an extra bonus, but my main one is to get that fourth title under my belt. It's always tough, especially being at Belle Vue every year now. I remember not long ago when riders, promoters and fans used to moan it. There's always at Wolverhampton every year, and now they've turned it around. It's at Belle Vue. So, but riders don't really moan about that, the same ones. So, but I don't forget because I've been around a long time, and I've got a fairly good memory. So maybe they need to look at maybe moving the venue a bit around and showing it around to other tracks, because as a rider, it's a bit boring going to the same venue as other riders before me used to say. They don't want to go Wolverhampton every year for the British final. It's not fair, blah, 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 and all that rubbish. Same as the fans. So let's see what happens in the future, because how much of a lovely stadium Belle Vue is, and the track is, could be some good racing. As a fan of Speedway, maybe they need to move it around a bit, like they called upon not so long ago when it was always at Wolves.
Is there a track that if they did move it there and it came through, you'd think, oh yes, this is in the bag? Do you have a particular favourite?
No, I never look at it saying I want to go to a track that I'm good at. I've had some good meetings at Belle Vue, so I'm not saying I want a track that I'm good at. I just feel it needs to be shared around a bit. There's some good tracks in the country. If Peterborough's still running, Peterborough can be a good track. King's Lynn could be a good track when prepared right. Glasgow could be a good track. So there's enough tracks around that they could share it around a bit. I'm just saying what other people are thinking, and they haven't got any to say it. So I think at the stage of my career, I've earned the opportunity the thing to say what I feel, and I feel that it's time that maybe they move it around a bit to stop it being at one track all the time. I could say, like I keep repeating myself, they used to moan, and riders and fans and promoters used to moan it's always at Wolverhampton, and now we've had it at Belle Vue for how many years? Yeah,
it has moved around historically, hasn't it? There's been where's held it. Swindon have had it in the past. Wolves have had it. I think the old Belle Vue maybe had it. Yeah, Poole. Yeah.
Coventry obviously back in the day. So I just don't see why they can't move it around every other year, or not that I want to do more meetings, but make more legs. Have 3 or 4 meetings at it. If that's what they want to do, the Danish final does it, don't they? So I'm not saying I want it to be. Yeah, I don't say I want more rounds, because it's rubbish money anyway. Not that you do it for the money, but as a thing, maybe they can move it around and have the final meet round at Belle Vue. I don't know, but I think there's other opportunities that they could look at.
Food for thought. Well, watch this space. Well, look, good luck in all of those tournaments that you're in. Of course, a very, very busy time, and we'll see you soon. Of course, a couple of opportunities with Glasgow this week, and then Leicester next week, and good luck as well on your international adventures. It's quite a week. I'm impressed that you managed to squeeze us in, Chris, I've got to say.
Well, yeah, I managed to squeeze 5 minutes for you. Now I've got to go and do the daddy job and get the kids ready for bath and bed, give the wife a night off, see mum home.
Yeah, you and me both. All right, well, look, cheers, Chris. That's amazing. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
Pleasure as always. My thanks to Chris Harris for joining us this week on No Breaks, No Fear. Coming up in the final part then, we'll have a look at the action coming up in the Cab Direct Championship, the National Development League, and we'll build up to that British Under-21 final in more detail with Connor Bailey, who's going to be contesting that crown.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along in this last section, taking a look at the Cab Direct Championship and the National Development League. But first, we're going to turn the spotlight on, Connor Bailey, frankly, who's taking part in the Under-21 final at Glasgow on Sunday. But Connor, it's been a busy time for you, actually, because, of course, you've been racing with Workington and Redcar, but now taking the step up to the Premiership as Belle Vue's new rising star. It's a big step.
Yeah, definitely. It's my first opportunity to ride in the Premiership, so I've took it with both hands, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
And on the subject of Redcar, we're going to hear from Gavin Parr very soon, but you've been moving through the ranks there as well, and you seem to be definitely on the up. Your performances have been good. You've been going nice and quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely more so in recent weeks. I've sort of ironed out a few issues I had, and I've been putting in some steady performances and sort of seeing a bit of the results showing now that I've moved up to a heat leader for Redcar. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm just taking it as it comes. I'm very, very busy now, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless. I think it's really good to be busy, and it's helping me improve. Absolutely.
I noticed you'd moved to heat leader for that last match. Now you've got Scunthorpe home and away in the Knockout Cup, and potentially a cup final at stake there, of course. And that's big responsibility on your shoulders this month, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at it as a sort of stepping stone. I've moved up to a new challenge, so it's exciting really, because I've got my average up this year, and it's nice to see them put a little bit of faith in me, or even if it is just a tactical thing, I think that they sort of have a bit of faith in me to hold my own at number 3. So yeah, I'm excited to keep riding in the main body of the team first and foremost, and just keep improving. I had a good performance at Scunny last time for unknown reasons. I mean, I don't particularly like Scunny usually, but I had a good thing there, and I'm hoping I can do something similar this time.
Good stuff. Explain to us about, you obviously people will hear your voice and they'll say, hang on a minute, how's he in the Under-21 British final? What is the story there? Because I have explained this to a number of people, but as you're here, you can tell us it from your own mouth.
Yeah, so I'm British by heritage, basically. So basically, everyone above my mum on her side of the family is British, and I'm the first Australian generation in my family. So I'm more British than I am Australian, funnily enough, and I've been riding on a British passport my whole career for Team GB on a couple of occasions. So yeah, it's a funny one to see people just question it when it's convenient for them to, but it doesn't really affect me anymore. I know what I am and what I'm here to do, and it's not like I'm swapping and changing between the two. I've been pretty adamantly a British rider my whole British career. So yeah, that's kind of the main story of it. I don't think there's much to question. It's just when people take it and make their own narratives up, I guess.
Well, you've got the full thing, because you're not just Australian. You've been spending a fair bit amount of time in Scotland as well. You're based in Scotland, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been living there since 2019, so been there a few years now. I've been accepted by the locals as a Scottish hybrid. So yeah, no, I've been enjoying living up there. It's a nice spot.
Now, on to the British Under-21 final. You must feel reasonably quietly, happy with this situation, because it's at Glasgow, which is a team you were riding for last season, and you must quietly think, well, this is a track I know well.
Yeah, Glasgow's my home. They've made some changes to the track, but at the end of the day, I know the track really well, and I'm certainly happy and excited that it's going to be at Glasgow, especially in my last year of eligibility for the Under-21s. Make any silly mistakes like last year, and we'll see what happens by the end of it.
And drawn at number 16 on on the night. That gives you an opportunity, I guess, to see how things are going for a few of the other riders, maybe overhear what's going on out there, and maybe give you a little bit of an advantage in knowing what you're facing a little bit more.
Yeah, I always know what the Glasgow track's like. It'll be different because it's an afternoon meeting. You know, it's always a bit different when we don't start at 7:30. I've seen that a few times in Sunday matches, but yeah, it won't be too far from what I'm used to. I quite like the number 16 spot, especially at Glasgow, because it gives me 2 gate forwards. So, you know, especially at Glasgow, it gives you a lot of freedom in the first corner. You don't sort of get bunched and stopped, and you can sort of put the bike wherever you want it. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting out and racing. I'm really hoping for a good, strong meeting. And
in your first heat, you're going to have Jason Edwards in that heat as well. So it's a little bit of a red car battle in your first outing. Yeah, it's a nice hard one to start off with. So hopefully I can kick it off on a strong note and see where the night takes me. And just a quick word for the Workington fans. I think your form has certainly, gone up since Workington started, and you've got that extra confidence and experience there. But it's been going well for you at Workington in this first season back. Yeah, the extra track time's awesome, and I've been really enjoying, developing on the track as the track develops with us as riders over the season. It's coming good now. The last meeting was really, really good track. Lots of passing, and it was very rideable. It wasn't just slick and dusty. So yeah, it was really good, and it's only been getting better week on week. The results aren't quite there, but I think the racing is really good nonetheless for the fans, and they're sort of appreciating it regardless. All right, well, brilliant talking to you, Connor, and we'll see you in person soon, but all the best for the Under-21 Championships and your busy week here, there and everywhere in the lead up to that. Of course, that's probably a fair way off the Under-21 final now, looking at it on Sunday, but all the best for the week ahead. No problem. Thanks very much, Ian. So, yeah, all the best to all of the riders taking part in the British Under-21 Championships. And also a mention to a couple of the other upcoming lads as well. Oliver Bovington is going to be riding at Melilla in the first SGP4 event. That's on Saturday afternoon before the Grand Prix. This is the one that's on the new Tony Ricardson bikes and is actually on a bit of a training track. So I think it's 150 metres. So he's in that. And then we won't know at the time of recording this whether they made it through or not, but Cooper Russian and William Cairns are taking part in the SGP3 semi-finals, which happen on this Wednesday in Vastavik, and if they finish in the top 8, they go through to the SGP3 final with the very best of the world's 250cc riders. So good luck to all of those guys taking part in those events, and maybe we will see them on the track at Melilla this weekend. Fingers crossed for SGP3 and SGP4 before the main event. In this final section, then, we'll round up what's been happening in the Cab Direct Championship and the National Development League. And looking back to last week, it was the first leg of the final of the BSN Series, Poole Pirates versus the Glasgow Tigers. It was due to be the second leg at Wimborne Road, but with the weather putting paid to things the prior week at Glasgow, it meant that the first leg was actually staged on the south coast. But it was the Poole Pirates who have one hand on the BSN Series trophy after a huge 62-28 win over the Tigers in that first leg last week. Round the third and fourth bend for the final time here. A big advantage into the second leg for the Poole Pirates. And they know that's one hand on the BSN Series trophy. And heat number 15 ending with a 5-1 to the Poole Pirates. Well, after that match, we heard from the two team managers on BSN. In a moment, we'll hear from Neil Middleditch, but contrasting emotions for the Glasgow team boss, Cammy Brown.
That's just another very disappointing performance. Poole have outridden us out the starts, and that's what it takes to win matches here, and that's what they've done.
I know it's only half-time, but you're going to have to rally the troops, aren't you, in a couple of weeks? Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely difficult. Very disappointed with some of the performances tonight, and not happy at all. But, we'll go forward and see what the next meeting brings on Friday night. Neil, you must be delighted. Yeah, pleasantly surprised to be an underestimation, really. Yeah, no, brilliant performance from the boys, making some great starts tonight, and that's been let us down a little bit early doors. We've sort of been playing catch-up, but tonight we hit him from the word go. You were, I know, I read your Speedway Star interview last week. You were expecting a tough night here tonight, weren't you?
Yeah, it certainly was. I looked down the team and I thought they're all very capable riders. Obviously got Bomber, Basso, got good experience around the track, and Tom Brennan's been going well. But yeah, no, they just had no answer for us tonight.
Your heat leaders leading from the front, but the backup they had tonight, you can't ask for any more, can you?
No, that's right. The engine room's absolutely brilliant. I mean, everybody, 1 to 7. I mean, Kyle and Adam at the bottom there, they've all done their jobs, and that's the key to winning matches, and that's what we've been doing. We've got a good, 1 to 7, and that's the key.
Well, next up for the Glasgow Tigers on the Friday was the Redcar Bears. Redcar having won at Ashfield earlier in the season, but a little bit of a different visit this time with the Glasgow Tigers certainly coming through that one, defeating the Redcar Bears 51-39. However, there is bad news for the Redcar Bears and a setback in Jake Mulford suffering injury in a grass track event last weekend. Probably well known about by now, but obviously that's not good news, and they're going to be looking for replacements for him in the short term, either that be guests or temporary replacements. We'll wait and see for more information on that. It's a busy week for Redcar though. They've got a lot of action against the Scunthorpe Scorpions starting this week. Home and away fixtures in the Cab Direct Championship Knockout Cup, with the fixture at Scunthorpe on the Friday, the return back on the Saturday. We can hear from the Redcar team boss Gavin Parr now, looking forward to the week ahead.
2 meetings on the bounce, KO Cup.
3 meetings, isn't it? We've got them the week after in the league as well, I think. Yes. We have, so we've got 3. But we've got them Friday and Saturday.
We can't go there and lose by 20 like we did in the league, because the tie may be effectively over.
Yeah, probably. But this is Scunthorpe. Do you know what it is? I've had lads who've rode there for like years and years and years, and they're still kind of working out. It's completely different to anything else in the league, and something that works one week, you go the next time and it doesn't work. So yeah, but we've got clean slate, start again. The lads put the last performance out of their heads, and we go again.
No Michael Palmtoft for the Scorpions. Is that an advantage for the Bears?
It depends, because I think they can get guests. I think they can get Ben Coogan or something as a guest now, I think I read, but he turned them down the first week. But Palmtoft,
one of the cooks guested for them tonight.
Did they? Yeah, I think Palmtoft is brilliant around that place. So yeah, I think that's a positive for us, definitely.
So is the aim to keep it in single digits, or are we going there to win and then set up a less pressured second leg?
Yeah, we're going there to win. We go to win every match. We can't go to defend, basically. But what we will be saying is like no last places. That's basically, and then you'll be there or thereabouts. But that's the aim.
So yeah, busy week for those two sides, facing each other, well, this week twice, and as Gavin Parr mentioned there, in the league next week. The winner of the Knockout Cup semi-final there between Redcar and Scunthorpe will, of course, face, guess who? The Poole Pirates in the final, as Poole go for a hat-trick of wins. Poole, the reigning champions, and have been since 2021. Basically, Poole have won everything since they moved to the championship level in 2021. That's just the shortcut version of the story to bring you up to date over the last couple of years. They've won every single title, and they're on course winning that BSN Series final as well. But you never know in Speedway. Things can work out not quite how you'd expect for whatever reason. A couple of other bits of news then from the Cab Direct Championship. Oxford number 1 Sam Masters scored a paid maximum in last week's hard-fought win over Berwick, including a terrific Heat 13 in which he and Scott Nichols got the better of Rory Schlein for a 5-1. Berwick boss Scott Courtney stressed his side had ridden far better than the scoreline suggested. They were only 4 points adrift with 3 races remaining, and then the punishing blows in those final few heats did the damage. Birmingham manager Stuart Dixon believes the signing of Paul Stark and the return of the injury-hit Stefan Nielsen put the Brummies in their strongest configuration of the season. It means Alfie Botel drops down to reserve, and the Edinburgh Monarchs were left to rue a slow start at Scunthorpe on Friday. They were 16 points down after 7 races before fighting back to outscore the home team over the second half of the meeting. By then, though, the damage was done. Scunthorpe themselves, of course, see that as a fantastic win. Scorpions up to third in the table at the time, with maximum man Ryan Douglas chipping in there in no small amount. So looking at the week ahead in the Cab Direct Championship, Glasgow are unbeaten in the league as they head into this week's Southern Tour. It was obviously being curtailed because they were due to be at Plymouth, that being rained off. So next they head to Birmingham on Wednesday. The Gladiators then head north with vital trips to Edinburgh and Berwick over the course of this weekend. Leaders Oxford go on for a 9th win when they host Edinburgh on Wednesday. Poole look to keep up the chase on the same night when they take on the Berwick Bandits. Scunthorpe and Redcar contest their KO Cup semi-final with the first leg at the Eddie Wright Raceway on Friday and the return at the Echo Arena 24 hours later. Well, let's turn our attention to the National Development League. Edinburgh and Mildenhall faced each other at West Row. It was a win for Mildenhall with reserve William Richardson enjoying his best performance yet of his debut season in the NDL when the Fen Tigers defeated Edinburgh last Sunday. The final score at West Row was 48-41, and we can hear from one of the top scoring riders, in fact the captain of the Fen Tigers, Lee Complin, with Craig Saul.
Well, it's the home captain Lee Complin who joins us now, and complete with young Fen Tiger of the future in arms. And Lee, dare I say, it was tense, it was tight, it was emotional, but you got the thing over the line. A win's a win.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously my first race wasn't the best. My chain came really tight and caused it to lock up on me, so that's why I crashed. The bike were absolutely flying tonight. I was gating, which was fantastic. So the boys from 1 to 7 did a job. It wasn't anyone in particular. It was 1 to 7. William Richardson were fantastic tonight, and that's the kind of what we need from him, and that just shows that what we're capable of. So imagine what it's going to be like next week. So I can't wait.
I know everybody talks about that Fen Tigers team spirit. We saw it in the success at Berwick. We saw it here today, and that's the extra man in the pits.
Yeah, little man were helping me out, weren't you? So, no, fantastic. I mean, Luke Riddick in the pits, and James Shanes has helped me massively. So him and Lauren helped me out all the time. I went to their house before the meeting, helped me with my clutch and bits and bats in the carbon. They're just such fantastic people, and Fen Tigers through and through, so it's a family. I'm so glad I'm part of it, so thank you.
Yeah, and of course it's a little while till the next action here, but it's the Leicester Lion Cubs, the defending league champions, who hit town. That should be a huge one.
It'll be a huge one, but if we carry on as we are, I can't see why we can't do it, so let's just do it.
Lee, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, cheers, bye.
Lee Complin then with Craig Saul after his side's victory over the Edinburgh Monarchs Academy. Looking elsewhere at what's been going on in the National Development League, Berwick have moved to hand former NDL Riders champion Steve Boxall a return to the sport. He's going to make his comeback at home to Belle Vue on Saturday. Belle Vue, meanwhile, racked up a massive 67-23 win over Kent at the National Speedway Stadium and now need to back that form up on the road if they challenge for a top 2 finish. Looking ahead to what's happening then over the course of the next week in the National Development League, there's 2 important meetings on Saturday. Belle Vue travelling to Bottom Club Berwick in need of an away win to challenge for the top 2. Meanwhile, the Workington Comets bid to bounce back from recent home disappointments when they head to Armadale to face the Edinburgh Monarchs Academy. So that's how things look in the National Development League. Looking at the fixtures as we approach this new week ahead, on Wednesday, Cab Direct Championship action, Birmingham Brummies versus the Glasgow Tigers, Oxford versus Edinburgh, and Poole versus Berwick. On Thursday in the Sports Insure Premiership, Peterborough versus Sheffield, Ipswich versus Belle Vue. That one is on BSN. Friday in the Cab Direct Championship, it's Edinburgh versus Plymouth, Scunthorpe versus Redcar. The individual club streams will be working for that. On Saturday, we've got Cab Direct Championship action, Berwick versus Plymouth at 7 p.m, and National Development League in Berwick versus Belle Vue, so a double header there at Shieldfield Park. Knockout Cup semi-final in the Cab Direct Championship, Redcar versus Scunthorpe, which is live on BSN. Edinburgh Monarchs Academy versus Workington at 7 p.m. at Armadale in the National Development League. On Sunday, the only fixture is the British Under-21 final, which takes place at Ashfield, Glasgow, a 2 p.m. start time for that, also on BSN. And on Monday, Sports Insure Premiership, it's Belle Vue versus Ipswich. That one one is live on Eurosport and Discovery Plus. Wolverhampton versus Peterborough and Leicester versus Kings Lynn. And that is your fixture lineup for the week ahead. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back with you next Wednesday with another episode of No Breaks, No Fear. Enjoy your week of Speedway.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.